the kind of things that I look for in a pond, whether it is irregularities like this tree right here, you can see a little bit of like a little point type thing. That's the kind of things that I'm focusing on. Anything that's a little bit different than just being perfect straight. My goodness, folks, first bite of the day. Let's see what we got right here. Oh man, it's a pretty good one. That's what we got. No doubt a good one. Doing a little pond fishing here today, folks. And I'll tell you what I'm doing right here. Exactly to the T. That's not a bad fish out of a pond. Y'all must admit. It's a nice fish. We'll take him. I'll hold him up and let y'all see this one. Water's cold. Winter is here. That's a chunky bass. Matter of fact, that's a football. Beautiful, large jaw. Ha ha ha, to start today. That is a nice bass right there. Nice one. And what I'm doing is pond fishing today. Or I'm going to fish in this particular pond right here. Been getting a lot of requests. Notice that little size 4 hook right there. That is a perfect size for small crawfish. And I think this is the 3rd time we've went fishing with crawfish, and probably the last, because I'm out of them and they're so difficult to catch. But let's put this fish back and I'll show you what I'm doing. Whoa! Okay. Whoa. Let's put him back right here so we can see him swim off right here. That's a nice bass right there out of the pond. Let's see if he can get out of there. And a little bit shallow. Let's push him on out in there a little bit. It's a nice fish right there. You notice the watercolor's almost muddy right here. So it took me a lot of time with these live crawfish. It's a finesseful way of fishing. Really, a small spinner bait right here would be key, with either an Indiana blade or a Colorado blade, a chartreuse color, excuse me there. But I have a few of these small crawfish left and I don't want them to die. I want to use them. Let's catch another one. But before we do, I'll show you what I'm using. I'm using a Cardinal 4 right here, old reel, and I'm using it on a spinning rod right here. This is a Bucks graphite B&M jig pole, 6-pound test, a mono, and a size 4 hook. And that's all I'm doing right here. Let's rig it. Now I caught that fish right there, and he was about 5 feet from the bank in probably 2 feet of water. It's been cold, so these fish, even pond bass, will get up real close to the bank because the water temperature is a lot warmer. And I'm just hooking him right there, just like that. Little crawfish about 2 inches long. That's all we need. Let's pitch it back out there again. That could be another fish right there. But I'm just letting it sit there, picking it up and letting it fall. Letting it sit there a little bit. If I don't get a bite, then I'll go over maybe a couple feet because that water is muddy. Well, folks, it's a thing of beauty right here this evening. Peaceful and calm. But I'm going to tell you what, I've been fishing 3.5 hours and real hard. I fished a dam right here, which is the deepest water, and I caught that one bass right there where that little point is sticking out from the bank or juts out from the bank right there. And I've fished around this pond about 2/3 of the way without a bite. Without a bite, I'm talking about. So I think we had a drought 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot of the ponds, all the fish died out of them. I don't know if that's the case here or what, really. So I feel fortunate for catching such a quality fish out of here. Caught that fish and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm gonna catch me 4 or 5 more of them. Because live crawfish is deadly, and that's a fact. But that didn't happen. So after about 1.5 hours, I knew for certain something has happened to that pond. That's one of them things. Don't y'all look right there. Now, old man, I'm ready to go on. Let's go on, Marshall. Old man Hubert done fished them out. He caught every one of them out there. He fished them out. Nice fish. I don't have no idea what we got right here, folks. I got a pretty good idea. Boy, that's a lot of fun right there. Look here, what a bass. This is a big spotted bass right here. That fish was deep, deep, deep. Golly. That's a beautiful fish. Now this fish right here is colored up pretty. Let's get him right over here if we can. And healthy. My goodness. Now that fish come out of around, and I'm guessing 22 to 23 feet of water. That's how deep I can fish with live crawfish without weight. All I have right here is a size 4 eagle claw hook right here, and we got him in a good place. Look here, right there. Didn't harm the fish at all. Now ain't that pretty? No doubt. Whoa! I'm talking about woo! That fish was right on the bottom. When that crawfish hit the bottom, I might have moved him 3 or 4 feet and got bit. All right, let's let him go right here in this pretty clear water. Let's watch him. Golly bum, he's gone. Now, I'm doing something a little different, and I'll show you why. Different in the way I'm hooking these crawfish, for the simple reason they're not very big crawfish at all. Let's get into it right here. And I don't have a whole lot of them, but we'll pick out one of the biggest ones. Here's a good one. They're not really big enough for a rubber band, so when I find them this small right here, what I'll do is take that size 4 hook and hook him right there on the side of that first joint, just like that. That's all I do. I could probably use rubber band on this one, but he's just a little bit small for it. Let's make another pitch. Right about in there. And I'm gonna throw slack in my line and let him sink to the bottom. And it takes a pretty good while. I mean, I'm not gonna use weight. If I use weight, I'm gonna get hung up. No doubt. But what I'm doing is just stitching this bait back to me. I'm just moving it 3 or 4 inches. I'm letting it sit there like that. If I don't get bit pretty quick, what I'm going to do is try to pitch that crawfish right beside that column and let it fall straight down. And that's where they could be a suspended fish right there, and a good one. There's a fish. Now that fish is in a totally different place. I hope it's not a drum, folks. Kind of close right here. I just stitched him on in. Let's see what we got. Oh my goodness. Just exactly what I thought it was. Big drum. I'm gonna have some trouble with him. No, it ain't. It's a big bass. Look here. They're so sluggish. This is a big bass right here on a tiny crawfish. What about this? Look here. Golly. What it is, this gear ratio on this old reel is so slow. I'm gonna have to hold my rod tip up and I'll tell you about it. Here he comes. That it felt like a drum. The water's so cold. My goodness. Never would have thought that. Felt just like a big drum. Big largemouth. Or a good one. Tiny, tiny crawfish. They'll hit little baits like this, whether it be artificial or live when the water's this clear and cold. Ain't that something? Come on in here, boy. I'm gonna land him right over here. He's tuckered. That's a lot of fun. This reel right here is old. I believe it was made in the 50s. No power whatsoever, but I've caught a lot of fish on it through the years. Come on over here. That's a good bass. That largemouth was deep. Deep. Look at there. It's a good bass for what I'm doing right here. Let's take a look at him right here. That's a good fish right there. Barely hooked too. I'm gonna have to retie my knot. That's not but 6-pound test, Mr. Crappie line, so I'm gonna retie it real quick. Look at there, look at there. Let's watch him right here. That's a good bass right there. There he goes. Whoa. I'm talking about whoa. Well, folks, I'm going to say this. That was a great way to use them tiny, tiny crawfish up. Most of those crawfish was anywhere from 2 to 2.5 inches long. And it amazes me in the wintertime how those small crawfish will catch big bass. But I tell you, in the wintertime, you don't need big baits. Sometimes they just want a little meal. And that sort of proves it. And also, I want to say that my friend Jimmy Houston, his wife Chris, has got a video up which she put up Christmas evening about the early days of Lucy the deer. And me and Lucy has a relationship. When I went down there to see Jimmy, fished with him a couple of days, she followed me everywhere I went. She's a remarkable deer, and it's a remarkable story about Lucy and the triplets. A lot of y'all watch that, and it's very interesting, and it's nothing more fitting to watch deer. I mean, you remember Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid. And I want to say, if you don't care, check that out. Hey, woo! I want to say Merry Christmas to each and every one of y'all. God bless each and every one of y'all. Each and every one of y'all, that was 3 times, are very special. I don't know what else to say. Merry Christmas. Hey, man, we're starting on. Whoa! And remember, go fishing when you can, but call this good work.